Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm back at it again with another video. You know, I keep hearing people nowadays talk about, let's have this uncomfortable conversation. And typically, the conversation is never really uncomfortable. They typically just bring up things that are pretty mundane, pretty safe, because that's the times that we live in where you think that what you're saying necessarily is absolutely edgy and out of this world and uncharacteristic for what we usually typically say in norm society, when in reality, again, you're a goober. Shut the fuck up. Let's talk about an actual uncomfortable topic, right? Let's talk about a situation, and let's talk about superstars, in my opinion, who can pretty much benefit anywhere and everywhere outside of AEW. Let's talk about the stars that should be released by AEW. And I know you're going to see the title. I know you're going to probably see the thumbnail, and you're going to immediately think to yourself, Devonta, you're calling for their firing. Nope, not even fucking close. Not calling for their firing. Not calling for anything in regards to them losing their job, outside of the fact that they will lose their job in AEW. But I want them to go somewhere else. I want them to go to WWE. I want them to go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they're clearly more comfortable at. No one wants to be in AEW. Like me, let's make no mistake about that. You look at the superstars, you look at the build going into full gear, no one wants to be with the company. Whether you have someone like a Kenny Omega who's deciding to come back at Wrestle Kingdom or whatever fucking New Japan Pro Wrestling show that's coming out soon or whatever, rather than making his grand return in AEW. You've been gone from the company for damn near a year now. I mean, yeah, you made one little cameo appearance over the summer, but for the most part, you've been gone all year. Why won't you return to AEW? Oh, that's right, because they're not doing good business right now. Oh, that's right, because their popularity is completely in the shitter right now. I don't blame you. I don't want to be anywhere either where it's losing money consistently, losing popularity by the fucking barrels, nowhere near currently where their peak used to be at. And even worse. If you, for an example, being in Kenny Omega's position, was once an EVP, and now your power is now relegated to probably a consultant, most likely. Yeah, there's all reasons. Mind you, by the way, I do not want Kenny Omega anywhere near power ever again. Just justifying his own stance in regards to his position as to why he wouldn't want to return to AEW at this moment, on top of the other things and contributing factors. Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to come to AEW. There's really no incentive. There's no incentive at all for wanting to come back to this company. Look at MJF. MJF has been gone for an entire month. Now, most people will probably look at this and they will probably attribute this to the dumb fuckery of Tony Khan. And maybe there could be a situation where, for some stupid ass reason, maybe you put a clause in this contract that stipulated that MJF can take this time off around this time. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, dude, where's your scheduling? Where's your logic? Did you not know that Full Gear was right around the corner? Like, I don't understand. Why would you give him this much time off around the corner from your pay-per-view? What sense does that make? If that was your negotiation practices, wouldn't it have made more sense to, I don't know, do something along the lines of skirting around that issue? Maybe if you were trying to compensate for that, you could have given more money. You could have picked other dates where, you know, you weren't closing in on one of your biggest shows of the fucking year. And you could have given them more time on top of that on some of your dead schedules, not building up to your biggest show of the fucking year. Of course. Got me in this bitch like I'm Shank Uger. Or could it just be the fact that MJF also doesn't want to be there right now, currently at the moment? Maybe MJF also decided that he wanted all this time off for his contract, not just to work his body. Because I guarantee you right now, if he went to WWE, given his name value, he ain't getting no Roman Reigns contract. He ain't getting no Brock Lesnar-esque contract where he gets to just leave all willy-nilly. He's not a draw like that. He doesn't make money for a company like that. He's a big fish in a small pond currently in AEW, and as talented as he actually is, I'm not going to take anything away from MJF. Make no mistake about it, half the shit that he does in AEW, he will not be allowed to do in WWE. And that's where you see the talent really start to thrive. Anybody can jump on the microphone. Anybody can do what I'm currently doing at the moment and swear, curse, say shit, fuck, titty, fuck, dick, bitch. Oh my God, look at that seal pussy. You can say whatever you want on YouTube and get away with it for the most part, right? Not everything, but anything and everything. Sometimes, whatever, depends how black you are, whatever. My point being is though, yeah, MJF, anybody can do what I'm doing. Essentially, what you're doing is what I'm doing. But once you go to WWE, all that shit gets relegated, right? You get relegated back to, well, okay, how do I skirt around this issue while still having my talent shine through? And you know, I look at someone like an MJF and I say to myself, I think he'd actually like that. I think he'd actually appreciate the challenge. I think he would accept that challenge, and I think he would look that challenge dead in the eye, and whether he fails or whether he succeeds, I think he would want to be in an environment worth thriving, and there's an actual substantial goal as far as reaching the top of the industry, being in a company where the merit actually lends prominence to your legacy overall with the overall wrestling fan, whether that's casual or whether that's hardcore, because you're working for WWE. That same incentive structure is not in AEW because no one gives a fuck about AEW. And that's not just it. Look at someone like a Hangman Adam Page. Every other fucking month, this motherfucker's out somewhere. Even in the middle of big storylines like what he was building up with Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe earlier this year. Poof, vanish, out of thin air. Same shit in regards to the storyline, in regards to him and Kenny Omega a couple years ago. And I know people are going to buy Devontae, well, his wife was pregnant, his kids and everything like that. In WWE, that would not be the case. I'm pretty sure Triple H or Vince would let you see your child. I'm pretty sure you would take off like a week or two. You won't take 2 or 3 fucking months like this guy did. You simply won't. That just wouldn't be the case. And last time I checked, he ain't no woman. I don't see why he needs maternity leave. I get paternity leave. I was off work for like 2 or 3 days when my son was born, and then guess what? I went right back to work because I'm a man and I don't have the side effects of what typically happens when humans come out of your fuckhole. That doesn't typically work because, again, I'm a guy, you know, and guys typically don't have things coming out of their fuckhole. Well, it's 2024, so I don't know if you're some cringe weirdo, delusional, mental ill person. Maybe you identify as whatever. My point being is though, look at what he did. If you don't think that was more so him saying, hey, it's my first child and I want to be able to skirt around this issue and I really don't want to be here at the moment, so hey, Tony Powell, chum. I know most likely you're a little bit of the koosie, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that you drive on a straight road and you kind of swerve when you drive, wink, but at the same time, I mean, you do understand that we straight people have children and we kind of have families and we kind of want to tend to them. Do you mind giving me a little bit of a break, boss? And by break, I mean multiple weeks. You know what? Fuck the multiple weeks. Give me a couple of months there, pal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what Tony Khan said? Yeah, sure. Boss. Go ahead, boss. Go ahead. But my thing is, the consideration for even asking for that much time off would be you don't want to work for the company. I guarantee you, if there was something worth striding for, if there was a goal, and I think his might be a little bit different because obviously CM Punk was in the company at the time in 2021, I believe, if that was around the time when him and Kenny Omega was feuding. I can understand him most likely thinking to himself, oh, I mean, you got this guy CM Punk coming in and he's overshadowing everybody. But again, the same thing. You don't want to be there because, well, you're not really goal oriented when being in a company like AEW. Same thing could be said back in 2023 last year when he had his second kid. I mean, I seriously don't understand that. It's stupid when it's your first child, but at least you can kind of say to yourself, well, it's your first child. Still stupid, but first child. your second child and you're a dad, and come on, guy, come on, like, give me a fucking break, okay? You make millions of dollars. If you don't have a nanny or a chauffeur or someone who can't take care of your wife while you're not around, I mean, what are you really doing, right? It's because he knows what he really is doing, okay? He's playing a mark for who he is, a mark, right? In reality, he doesn't want to be there just as much as the other talents who don't want to be there. Where the fuck is Samoa Joe, huh? Where the fuck is Samoa Joe? Oh, that's right, he's filming Twisted Metal. Same thing like MJF, by the way. I'm pretty sure he's filming Happy Gilmore for his movie parts and all this other kind of shit. Bro, you are a voice actor. MJF, you are a part-time actor. Wasn't Drew McIntyre not too long ago, like a year ago, doing the stuff with Batista? He was out mostly because of the negotiating with his contract and shit like that. But for the most part, the parts that he was filming for the movie, that didn't take up all his time. He was a subplot. He wasn't the star of the movie. Jericho just filmed the movie, and he still showed up to AEW for the most part every other week, right? Every fucking week for the most part, and he was filming the movie also. His part wasn't as big as MJ. His part shouldn't have been no bigger than MJF or Samoa Joe being a voice actor. I mean, there's voice actors who can actually talk on the phone, and you can still take that voice, and you can still manage it, fuck with the audio a little bit, and you can still put that inside that character as if they were already in the studio. It's excuses because they don't want to be in the fucking company. How many people have we gone through so far? We went through Joe. We went through Heyman Adam Page. We went through Kenny Omega. We went through MJF. Where's the Young Bucks right now? Why are they randomly taking a hiatus? Huh? Why are they randomly taking a hiatus? Right, building up to one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year. Why randomly take a hiatus? You dropped the tag team championship belts on a random show to take a hiatus. Your contracts are stipulated like that? Why were your contracts stipulated like that? Why did you negotiate that specific time frame? Why not? Because no one wants to be in the company. You tell me, how many people took vacations between 1998 to 2001 in WWE? I'll wait. Somebody. Did Austin take vacations? No, the time Austin was out was typically because of his neck issues. Did Taker take vacations? The one time Taker was actually injured during the Attitude Era, where they actually took him out for some time, it was a groin injury, and he was itching to get back, trying to try out his new character as the American Badass. Rock never took a vacation. Foley never took a vacation. He was always fucking hurt for the most part, right? He'll take breaks here and there for about a month or a couple of weeks, but he initially comes right back and does his thing. Hell, he'll retire and come back. That's how much he loved the business at the time, because the company and how hot the industry was at the time. Oh, well, let's look at Triple H. Oh, you mean the guy who busted his ass so hard in the business during that time frame that it got his popularity to the point where he could transition that into actually somewhat being one of the key figures heads inside the company currently today, who's calling the shots for the most part? Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. You know what I see when I see a guy like Tony Khan being used by the wrestlers to take vacations whenever they really want to? I see a guy like Eric Bischoff being worked by the NWO. Being worked by the people coming from headquarters in WWE up there in New York. I said headquarters, okay, I slip of the tongue, you know what I'm trying to say. My point being is, though, that's what I see. But hell, at the very least, Eric Bischoff can say to himself, well, golly gee willikers, I do have some of the biggest wrestlers of all time on my roster, and I am doing one of the biggest angles currently at the moment, and we still are a hot product with or without this person. Maybe it's okay to do it, right? And when they started to die, at the very, very, very least, Eric Bischoff can always say that, well, golly gee willikers, I still give it that fucking good old boy try, right? And even then, at the end of the day, they still played him for the most part, no different than they're playing Tony Khan, and they most likely played him towards the end of those contracts in 2000 to 2001. Not Eric Bischoff, because by that point he was already gone, but playing the Turner broadcaster guys, because they knew they were losing. The atmosphere, everybody was fucking detrimental. It was dead as fuck, and guess what? They said to themselves at that point in time, there's no bothering with this. Kind of seems similar to what you're seeing in AEW currently right now. Now, that's not to say that they're dying. Right? I mean, they are dying, but it's not to say that they're going to officially die. It's just to kind of put a little worm in your head, put a little noodle in your head, make you think for a second, make you understand and contemplate and considerate and all these other words that I'm just making up at the moment just to make it rhyme with another word, because that's what we do when we're black. That's why we're mostly rappers for the most part. I'm just putting a little, thought in your mind. Notice how all these wrestlers in AEW currently at the moment want to do this, want to do that, want to do this, want to do that. It's not like Roman Reigns. Cause I know you're going to get people in the comment section, well, Devontae, you're saying all this. What about people like Roman Reigns? Well, Roman Reigns is the biggest star in professional wrestling currently at the moment. He's the biggest star in the industry currently at the moment. He probably did it because of all the years of working his body. He's been on top longer than AEW has been a company. Probably double that time, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, and not to mention also when you see how dead the bloodline is, you can make that argument too right now. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I can see that argument also. But in the end of the day, it's still WWE. And they're still the world's biggest wrestling company. And they still have people who do have drive, currently in NXT at the moment, who want to make it to that main roster, who are super hungry to be at the top to replace a guy like Roman Reigns. Right now, you still have top tier superstars who are thriving, who are super hungry at the moment. Guys like Drew McIntyre, guys like CM Punk at the moment, guys like, for an example, Jey Uso, who really, really want it. They're super duper hungry. They're not trying to take time off. They want the time. The guy who's trying to take time off is the person who's already at that peak. He already accomplished that goal. There is no guy in AEW equivalent to Roman Reigns. So don't even try to make that argument. I mean, you're going to attempt to anyways because, okay, common sense doesn't really hit you right away, but that's fine. Let me be the one to hit you in the face with the common sense. As I always like to say, okay, I have more common sense than you because I have 6 and you have 5. My 6 is my common. Fuck with me. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this, have a conversation going, kind of get it something going in your minds as far as thinking about the current superstars in AEW, because it's like, yeah, there are a lot of superstars who are consistently sitting out, doing absolutely nothing, gathering up cobwebs, but they're doing it to themselves while they're supposed to be the big time players currently in the company. Is that weird? That's kind of weird. That's a little bit weird, just a tad bit weird. Correlation does not equal causation. Well, fuck you, it does right now, because what I see right now is failing ratings. I see popularity completely dropping from the peak, where the peak in itself was nowhere near close to where WWE, well, I'm even going to say that. It was somewhat near at its peak at the very least back in 2021, 2022. That's the sad part, actually. Crowd attendance dropping dramatically low, having to switch arenas in order to make up for the lack of space in itself, because you don't want to look super fucking empty going into humongous stadiums arenas, because you can buy all the arenas in the world, you won't, Tony, but what you can't buy is enthusiasm. What you can't buy in the end of the day is someone's attention. Can do it. Not to mention it's counterproductive because you're trying to sell tickets. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below in regards to how you felt about the topic. As always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P eyes.